That water is starting to come down, but you can still see some of that overflow right now. Take a look behind me. There is a parking lot that still has some of that overflow of water, and just over the river, you can see where the water sets just over some of the windows at the mill. Authorities do say that surveillance video was crucial in identifying and arresting 24-year-old Christian Rivera. That surveillance video showed Rivera's vehicle following Molly Tibbetts on her jog the night of July 18th. Karen, take a look at this. City council leaders say the project will rival the size of Kinnick Stadium. The state medical examiner's office confirmed that human remains were found in and around Wolf Creek in the rural part of LaPorte City. Investigators say they believe those remains could be those of Jake Wilson. Right now there is a fire being put out at Michael and Dowd, a furniture store in Vinton on this corner. The demolition for Viola Elementary School began yesterday, but already you can see that more than half of the structure is gone. Now the DOT wants to remove the use of this plastic by mid-next year, but some businesses and local police still have their concerns on how this will work. Hundreds of people crowded this amphitheater to support the families of 16-year-old Jake Wilson and 20-year-old Molly Tibbetts. Over 100 people have already volunteered to help families, some of which have lost a little, others who have lost so much more in the aftermath of Thursday's tornadoes. And many bikers I spoke to earlier today say that this is their first, second, or even their 20th experience on RAGBRAI. Secondary standards aren't required, but the new plant will be able to meet those standards. So the next time you turn on the tap, the water will smell and taste better.
The sadness and anger all just made me feel alone, hopeless.
For the residents of Postville, that was the feeling 10 years ago when an immigration raid shook their town and separated 386 suspected undocumented immigrants from their families.
No es lo mismo.
Consuelo says it hasn't felt quite right since.
I knew she was going to be arrested simply because I wouldn't imagine her putting up a fight.
Federal agents arrested Pedro Lopez's mother at the agri-processor's meatpacking plant. She was deported to Mexico. Consuelo says it was very tough leaving her children and didn't know what was going to happen. In 2008, immigrant families sought refuge right here at St. Bridget's Catholic Church in the days after the raid. Now the community continues to remember that day. 10 flowers representing the 10 years since the raid and the names of those that were arrested and detained that day.
How much is too much?
Pedro credits the community for fighting to bring his mother back in 2009 and with a visa.
We only did pro bono work with detainees and their families.
Through Sonia's help and kind of our just insisting, pushing, we are now permanent residents.
Still, songs of prayer echo the pain of those who couldn't come back or were deported too soon.
There were kids that were 15 years old, 16 years old, that were working 72 hours, that were trapped in trafficking situations.
We will never surrender. We will never stop fighting. That 100 years from now, our descendants will be here in St. Bridget's Church, taking care of their fellow human beings.
Now Pedro is trying to go to law school and honor Postville's legacy of helping the voiceless.
And I hope that I'm able to make an impact in the immigration reform and also work as an immigration lawyer.
Ensure others don't fear the way this town feared for years.
I'd like for Postville to be a statement, if anything, a resounding shout.
Sí se puede.
That together they can create a more welcoming future. In Postville, Gabriela Vidal, Fox 28 News. The West Liberty Police Department never anticipated thousands of people would express interest when it announced a self-defense class on Facebook. More than 100 people actually showed up this morning, many of them mothers and daughters concerned about their own safety.
These are real-life scenarios where a woman is alone, she's afraid, she's by herself, she doesn't know what to do, and there's someone coming to attack her.
These women say learning basic self-defense skills is more crucial than ever, now in the wake of 20-year-old Molly Tibbetts' disappearance.
I didn't expect something like this to happen in a town like that. You know, it's a town like West Liberty, not a lot of people. It kind of got me nervous, you know, walking just a few blocks to my house.
When you have really a high-profile missing person,
it magnifies everything else, and just a lot of concern and worry in our community.
Chief Kerry Kinmont says it's why the community encouraged him to create this self-defense class.
The interest was overwhelming, and that just tells me it needs to be done.
I'm going to bring my neck down as far as I can.
I just want to make sure they kind of have some education on what they need to do to fight back.
Renee Harned brought both of her daughters. One is in high school, but the other leaves home for college this week. She wants them to learn this lesson first, so they don't take any chances.
And I need to know, what to do in case of an emergency, and, I'm not going to have my parents around to protect me from these kinds of things.
No woman wants to be the victim of a sexual assault or a kidnapping or human trafficking. We want to teach strong women. We want them to be empowered.
Police say when it comes to self-defense, get back! Get back! All bets are off and nothing is off limits.
Okay, shots to the groin. Bam, bam!
Using your knees, your arms, your elbows, striking, even headbutting, things that aren't traditionally considered a fair fight. We're not looking to fight fair. We're looking to win, and we're looking to get out of there.
It kind of threw out what I had originally thought and taught me something new.
Patrol Officer Kim Halpane says skills like getting loud in a public setting and tricking your aggressor to think they're winning
And strike, strike, strike to the groin
can give women an upper hand.
He's never going to see it coming because we're going to be so sincere. We're going to save all of our energy and we're going to put that into the strongest attack that we can. We have to survive. That's what we're going to do. We're going to survive.
Police say while this class can prepare women for every dangerous situation they may encounter, this is an opportunity to build their confidence and encourage them to take other kinds of classes to protect themselves in the future. Gabriela Vidal, Fox 28 News at 9. That's right, Mitch. Here in Independence, the Wapsie River crested at just under 17 feet. Now that water is starting to come down, but you can still see some of that overflow right now. Take a look behind me. There is a parking lot that still has some of that overflow of water, and just over the river, you can see where the water sets just over some of the windows at the mill. But residents say that that's just another part of life on the Wapsie River.
It probably will take all week for it to get back into the normal banks that we're used to.
A raging Wapsie River now floods the basement floor inside the Wapsipinicon Mill.
Yesterday you couldn't see any of it, so the river has receded.
When the river rises over 9 feet, Leanne Harrison opens the windows of the mill to keep the water's pressure from damaging the 150-year-old building. She says flooding is always an inconvenience in Independence, but never really a surprise.
18 foot or above there, it starts affecting a lot of different things. It affects more people in the lower areas, more businesses. It starts closing bridges. That's the big thing right there.
Which happened in 1999 when the Wapsie crested at a historic 22.35 feet.
We lost a lot of the windows, they blew out.
So that's hole number 1 there.
Managing broker Heather Fitterspield, who is also living along the river, says the river continues to test the city's ability to stay afloat and prepare for the worst.
I am kayaking over the golf course, over River Ridge Golf Course, hole number 1. So it's going to be that far enough. So it's added about an extra 10-15 minutes.
But she says it's a path she's willing to take or sail if it means living by the Wapsie.
For those of us that love the river, we really just go with the flow.
Now, the fire department does say if anyone is experiencing some flooding in their home, they do have cleanup kits at the fire department that you could take at any point in time. They do say that the water could fluctuate as the river comes down from the north, but they don't expect that to have major impacts here in Independence. In Independence, Gabriela Vidal, CBS 2 News 10 at 10.